Genesis chapter 38. It came to pass at that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adullamite whose name was Hirah. Then Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he married her and went into her. So she conceived and bore a son and called his name She conceived again and bore a son and called his name Onan. She conceived yet again and bore a son and called his name Shelah. She was at Chezib when she bore them. Then Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in the sight of the Lord, and God killed him. So Judah said to Onan, "Go into your brother's wife and marry her, and as her brother-in-law, raise up seed to your brother." But Onan knew the seed would not be his, and it came to pass that whenever he went into his brother's wife, he emitted his semen on the ground, lest he should give seed to his brother. But the thing he did appeared evil in the sight of the Lord. Therefore he also put him to death. Then Judah said to Tamar his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house till my son Shelah is grown." For he said, lest he also die like his brothers. So Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Now in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his shepherd, Hirah the Adullamite. So it was told Tamar, saying, "Look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep." Thus she took off her widow's garments, covered herself with a veil, made herself beautiful, and sat down near the gates of Anan on the way past Timnah. For she saw Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, because she had covered her face, and he did not recognize her. Then he turned to her by the way and said, "Let me come in to you," for he did not know she was his daughter-in-law. So she said, "What will you give me that you may come in to me?" He replied, "I will send a young goat from the flocks." So she said, "Will you give me a pledge till you send it?" Then he said, "What pledge shall I give you?" So she said, "Your ring and cord and the staff in your hand." Then he gave them to her and went into her, and she conceived by him. So she arose and went away and laid aside her veil and put on the garments of her widowhood. Then Judah sent the young goat by the hand of the shepherd, the Adullamite, to receive his pledge from the woman. But he did not find her. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where is the prostitute who was in Anan by the roadside?" They replied, "There was no prostitute here." So he returned to Judah and said, "I cannot find her." Also, the men of the place said no prostitute had been there. Then Judah said, "Let her have them, lest we should become a laughingstock. For I sent this young goat, but you did not find her." Thus it came to pass, about 3 months later, that Judah was told, saying, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has committed fornication and is pregnant because of her adultery." So Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am with child." So she said, "Determine whose these are, the ring, the cord, and the staff." So Judah acknowledged them and said, "She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah my son." But he never knew her again. Then it came to pass at the time for giving birth, that behold, twins were in her womb. So it was, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." Then it happened, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out unexpectedly. And she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." Therefore she called his name Perez. Afterward his brother came out with the scarlet thread on his hand, and she called his name Zerah.